Well, hello and welcome to Minnesota Homeownership Center's Welcome Home podcast. My name is Bill Gray, and today we're going to talk about the potential behind becoming an owner occupant landlord by purchasing a 2 to 4 unit property. Joining me today are Andrea Inouye, Program Director with Twin Cities based Family Housing Fund. Welcome, Andrea.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
And we also have my colleague and friend Stefania Metzger, Learning and Development Manager with the Minnesota Homeownership Center. Welcome back to the show, Steph.
Thanks, Bill. I'm glad to be back.
Yay. Okay, so let's start with you, Andrea. Several years ago, Family Housing Fund partnered with the Homeownership Center to create a free online curriculum meant to prepare buyers to become owner occupant landlords. The course highlights some of the things prospective buyers should take into consideration when deciding if owning a small rental property and becoming an owner occupant landlord is right for them. Can you tell us why Family Housing Fund saw this as important enough to focus on? And what was your goal in making this course available to prospective homebuyers?
Sure. Well, I think for starters, I'll back up a little bit. The Family Housing Fund works on housing policy and solutions across the housing ecosystem in the Twin Cities and across the metro. A big part of our work is filling in gaps and trying to identify places where innovation is needed in the system. We do that primarily through collaboration with other organizations and governments. And so back in 2020, the Family Housing Fund and a great number of partners worked together to establish a set of pilot strategies that's collectively called the Building Equity Initiative.
Ah,
And that initiative is specifically focused on increasing ownership, particularly among Black and Indigenous and other people of colors home ownership in the metro as a entry level into home ownership, as well as a sort of fast track to developing wealth and being able to try to continue to address the wealth gap and the home ownership gap in those communities. Um, so that work included the partnership you mentioned with the Homeownership Center, also partnerships with other organizations, Hope Communities, among some others,
mm,
Clues, a few other folks in the community to work with their clients that they work with all the time to sort of build a pipeline of people who are interested in this type of homeownership. We also partnered with Build Wealth Minnesota to do down payment assistance that could be partnered with us. And then we've also been thinking about what kinds of post purchase supports we needed for folks to be able to participate in this program. There's also a property side about acquiring and rehabbing, but that's today we'll focus mostly on the people side of
yeah,
that.
yeah. And I know you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you do land trust too?
So the Land Bank Twin Cities has been part of this collaborative,
Okay.
and so they have a acquisition rehab capital pool that we partially funded. That's
Okay.
intended to be able to make these properties available on the market
Very cool.
for
So a
folks.
lot of partners, a lot of connections. I know you guys support our work, and we work with you all the time. So we appreciate that. And yeah, so this course is pretty cool. We created this online course. Steph, let's discuss it a bit. I know it was created before you joined us at the center, and actually before you joined Family Housing Fund too. But it's your baby now, and you've brought your expertise to it just as strongly as the course we created on manufactured housing last year. See our previous episode. Walk us through the course if you would. I know being a landlord, even a small one, probably isn't everyone's idea of a great situation. What's in the course? What's the main takeaway for the person taking it?
Yeah, so there are some key points to the course that the learner would walk away with. One of them being, um, hopefully, the course has helped them to explore the decision to own a small multifamily home. The course specifically lays out facts so learners can make an informed decision to become an owner occupant landlord. The course also complements our home stretch curriculum.
Mm,
It is encouraged to have the base knowledge from home
yeah,
stretch.
it's always a
Um,
good idea.
yeah. And then this just dives a little bit deeper into another option for home ownership. Um, and also the course can be used by housing advisors, homeownership advisors, as an add-on service that they can utilize with clients.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, a couple of things about the course is that it's free and it's meant for anyone thinking about multifamily homeownership in Minnesota. It's self-paced, it's online, and there are 10 lessons total. So it's not super long. We estimate it would take anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes for someone to complete, depending on how long it takes you to move through the content. Um, you must go through it sequentially, and at the end of the course, there is an opportunity to request a certificate of completion.
Now that's good. And for viewers and listeners, this course is on our website. It is free for anyone to take. So to find it, go to hocmn.org. That's our website. Look under partner resources. And then under there, guides and tools, and the list will come up, and the owner occupant landlord training course is in that list, and you can take it right there online for free. There's a couple things I think about here. So one of the things that homeowners, potential home buyers learn when they take the home stretch class is that if that refrigerator breaks down, you don't call your insurance company. You have to have a plan for that. If you're a landlord, you might have 2 or 4 refrigerators that you got to worry about. So I think it's a lot of setting expectations. And I kind of see, and check my logic here, I kind of see 2 potential scenarios here. Number one being, your ambitious kind of do-it-yourself handyman, woman, whatever, want to buy a 2 or 3 unit thing and kind of build your wealth that way and have other people helping you to pay the mortgage. And the other thing I'm thinking as all of these community conversations go on about home ownership is a lot of the cultures here in the cities, they do generally generational living a lot more than I know we do, and that's another opportunity where if you have 3 or 4 units, maybe that's a whole extended family that lives in there, and what a great deal that is. Everybody kind of paying their part of the mortgage, and check my logic on that. Is that what we're
Yeah.
thinking?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think a lot of people are drawn to this form of home ownership because it's an opportunity to make some extra money, but it's also an opportunity to provide affordable housing, especially to family members or friends. And the course actually walks you through reflection points to help you think that through, what it might mean to rent to someone you don't know versus someone you do know, and how you might
Pros and cons to both.
yeah, manage those potential conflicts and how to work through that. So there's a lot of information in the course that will kind of walk someone through elements of this form of homeownership that maybe you might not think of
Yeah.
right away. It talks about everything from the business side of being a landlord to landlord-tenant relationships, maintenance, and even laws and regulations about rental properties. So
Okay.
it's a lot to consider.
Yeah. And then another thing I've been thinking about is this all of this zoning reform. Check my logic on this. Trying to open up zoning to 2 and 3 and 4 unit buildings more than it is right now. This is the kind of thing we're talking about, right?
Yes, exactly. That's one of the reasons why Family Housing Fund was interested in this particular type of housing, is because there's many more opportunities now in the Twin Cities and increasingly across the metro to allow for this kind of housing to be built new. Still, there are some market conditions that's not taking off
Right.
really fast, but there's a lot of existing stock as well. And what we found in some of our research is that the existing stock tends to already be in low and moderate income neighborhoods where people, first time home buyers, first generation home buyers, are looking to purchase anyway. And that the price, as you mentioned, if it's multifamily, if you're looking to live intergenerationally, it's cheaper to buy a duplex than it is to buy 2 single family homes. And
Yeah.
so there's an affordability, sort of a scale component to that of affordability. We also see some people use that exactly in that way. They either have a family member who lives there or they just have a renter,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps them keep their housing affordable. And that's all that's the
Mhm.
end goal for them.
Yeah.
Other people use it as an opportunity to get into real estate, and it's a
Mhm.
good entry point, and you can build equity faster in a
Mhm.
lot of cases than you can in a single family home, and then you can leverage that duplex to
Mm.
purchase other buildings in the future if you're looking to be a mid-sized
Yeah.
own a handful of buildings and
Yeah.
do that more as a job versus
Yeah.
just something that you do that helps supplement your household income.
Yeah, I got a friend who does that. All right. So I know that certificate that you get at the end of the course is required by some lenders that make loans for these properties. And I'm going to ask a question, and I don't know if either of you know the answer. If a person wanted to purchase a 2, 3, 4 unit building, how's that different from the regular conventional mortgage kind of thing, a single family home mortgage?
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, every lender is a little bit different. Everyone should, check with their lender, their home buying counselor if they have one, to know the details on that. But generally speaking, this is one of the ways we see this intro into real estate ownership as more accessible. That if it's owner occupied, then your down payment requirements are very similar to what they would be as a single family home. So
Right.
it's still in proportion to the sales price. So maybe it's a little bit higher because
Yeah.
the sales price is a little bit higher. However, if you're not living in the duplex,
That's
you're
a whole
using it
different
as
thing.
an investment property, then you have to come up with 25,
Right.
maybe higher percent of down
Right.
payment, which is virtually impossible for a lot of people.
Right.
So it's a good intro to say it's very similar to a single family mortgage. Most of the underwriting says that you can use up to 75% of what the income on the rental units is going to be as part of your qualifications.
Do they have to already be occupied?
It depends. It depends on the lender.
Okay.
Sometimes you need to show, yes,
Yeah.
it's occupied and here's the income. Other times they can sort of use an estimate of what it's going to be.
I would suppose they'd usually be already occupied, wouldn't
I
they?
think oftentimes that is the case.
Okay.
A lot of these properties are investor owned,
Uh-huh.
and so they're coming sort of back into community ownership through this process
Yeah,
as
which is
well, which is a
awesome.
thing that we see really positive for the neighborhoods
Right.
is local ownership, being able to be right there on site to
Right.
deal with any maintenance issues is a really big asset to the community
Yeah.
as well.
What a great idea. Steph, anything else to add?
I do have a question actually. When when someone is living in the building that they've owned and are renting out, is there a length of time they're required to live there before they can move elsewhere? Do you know?
So for the down payment, it depends. So for our programs at Family Housing Fund, the only restriction would be if you got that down payment assistance program through Build Wealth. That is a 5-year forgivable loan. So every year it forgives at 20%. So if you are no longer living on the property, then you no longer qualify for that program,
Yeah.
and so you would have to pay that back.
Pretty
you could
standard
move
with
out,
single
but you would
family
have
as
to
well.
pay it back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I think generally speaking, there may be some lender requirements in terms of you can't just immediately turn around and move out because
Mhm.
that's not the point.
Mhm.
But from Family Housing Fund, the only requirement we have there is if you have the down payment assistance. Can I add one more thing before we
Yes.
finish?
Uh-huh.
So Family Housing Fund, one of the other products we have as part of our building equity program, and this one is still running. A lot of the other ones are full, but this one, there's still availability, is a post-purchase loan. So lots of people get into their building, and then they've been there, a month, and the furnace breaks, and
Mhm.
then so what do? You've probably spent most of your money on your down
Right.
payment and getting moving in and all of that, and so
Right.
most people then have to put those kinds of things on credit cards or other kind of high interest loans.
Right.
So we have a 0% loan product that's specifically for people owner occupied 2 to 4 units.
That's amazing.
115% of the area median income or below.
Yep.
If you don't have to be a first time home buyer or first generation, but if you are not one of those, then you have to take some kind of course,
Yep.
like the course that the Homeownership Center provides to make sure that we've done
Yeah.
some training with folks, and then that's available. It's up to $10,000, and it's a 7-year loan, so it ends up being about $115 a month. And then that money can be used for fixing a furnace, fixing up a bathroom because it's
Yeah.
not usable, water heater, any of those kinds of things that either make your unit or the unit that you're renting
Yeah.
more habitable, and rentable.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I also wanted to just reiterate too, I know that the Minnesota Homeownership Center's course is unique in that there are a couple of other courses out there.
uh-huh.
But what makes this one in particularly unique is that it really walks through all those decision points and things you may not have thought of when it comes to
Yeah.
this path of homeownership, whereas a lot of other courses out there are good, but they walk through more of the logistical
Mhm.
side. So I think that's something that's really unique and special
I like
about
that. What are you
this
signing up
course.
for? Because you want to know if you're going to become a landlord.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I think because this is a really great opportunity for a lot of people, but it also is a bigger risk because you have a unit that may or may not be rented. It's more hands-on in a lot of cases. You have to be available to your renter. So I think you really have to go into it eyes wide open, and you can be
Yeah.
very successful, but there are definitely things that you need to know before you get into owning a duplex or
Very
a
cool.
triplex.
Well, thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. I think I'll say that's it for this episode. If you are interested in enlisting the services of a home buyer advisor for yourself, you can find that information on our website, hocmn.org. Our advisors and educators are embedded in organizations around the state. They can help you figure out how to get mortgage ready and kind of build a roadmap for you to move forward and achieve home ownership. And if you're interested in this becoming an owner occupant landlord, they are experts on that as well. All right. In closing, as always, I want to acknowledge our 2025 sponsors: Associated Bank, Bell Bank, Bremer Bank, Country Financial, Franzen Bank and Trust, Huntington Bank, Midwest One Bank, and Old National Bank. Our sincere thanks to each of these organizations for their support. Thanks as always for watching and listening.